You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations. Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
You've earned an AWS.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our first introduction to progressive web apps for this year. I'm Andre, the community lead at PWA Pilipinas. Before we begin, I'll be sharing to you our community, PWA Pilipinas. Alright, so we are PWA Pilipinas. We are a community for makers, designers, and users of progressive web apps here in the Philippines. Our mission is to create events and other initiatives to promote adoption of progressive web apps here in the Philippines, because our vision is that progressive web apps would be adopted widely here in the Philippines. And we do have various events. We have our meetups, our live broadcasts just like this, and we also have our workshops. And we have our other special events like our Oktoberfest celebration and our introduction to PWA, just like this one. So if you're interested in becoming a speaker, you can submit your proposal at sessionize.com/PWA Pilipinas. This is your time to shine. If you wanted to share your knowledge about technology, about web, cloud, etc., just feel free to submit a proposal. And just to promote as well that February 28th, I'll be having a talk where I'll be sharing how you can actually create your personal brand. So it's happening next week, February 28th, 6 p.m. Just make sure to check our PWA Pilipinas socials for the link as well for that. And if you wanted to be part of our community, we have our PWA Pilipinas app. Just visit app.pwapilipinas.org or search for us on Google Play and on the Microsoft Store. And we're also on Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and almost everywhere. And some important reminders that we follow our code of conduct. Just make sure to visit pwapilipinas.code-of-conduct, right? So let's begin. So this will be very quick since this is our first introduction, right? So over the years, right, smartphone has been, along with the internet, have been an integral part of the society in bridging humans together, regardless of how far we are from each other. In just a few taps, one can send a message to our relatives over Messenger. One can send photos or videos of right, like joy, sorrow, hope, and almost everything in between. And we even use our devices to connect, to work, to play, anytime, anywhere, even in the midst of the metropolitan's never-ending traffic. And even today, as we fight virus outbreak in the previous years, right? We use our devices for to help us with that. And we even got as far as using our phones as like a wallet, right? Where we put our cash. Truly, many of us are now living a digital lifestyle. And of course, all of these are your native apps that we install through Play Store, the App Store, Microsoft Store. And yeah, so there's actually a saying that if there's something you need, there's there's a high likelihood that there's an app for that. And that's the case, right? Given that there's almost like thousands upon thousands of apps on these stores. All right, so let's look at some of the pros or benefits of native apps. First is that it speaks the native language of the smartphone, meaning that native apps uses the typical languages like Java or Objective-C or Swift to create native apps. And also it allows offline use, right? Let's say you wanted to have an app that can do this offline. Most likely there's a certain app that can do that. And it's also engaging and powerful because it has access to your, let's say, camera or your hardware, right? And it's what's available on most app stores. But of course, given that there's like pros to everything, there's also cons. Let's have a look at the cons of native app. First is that you actually have to install it first, meaning that let's say you wanted to order food or book a ride, right? You have to first download that app on the store. and that could be a bummer for many, especially if you're in a rush, right? And also size could be large. Let's say it's a game where it could be gigabytes in size, right? But what if we try to look at other options that we have, something that's more familiar, right? And this is where the web comes in. So let's have a look at the web, and let's try to look at this example, right? So if you show it to anyone and ask them what it is, then most likely they already know what that is, and they're going to tell you that it's a URL that actually brings you to Facebook, which is a web app, right? And let's look at some of the pros and cons of the web app. First is that it's familiar, in the sense that many of us already know what a web app is, right? We use them daily, and it also works everywhere. Let's say you can open it on your phone, you can open it on your computer, right? It's also easy to share. You can share the URL, the link, right? And it's equally engaging because it has different content like videos and right, it has all of these types of contents, which makes it engaging. But of course, there's also cons, which is first, given that it's web, right, you need internet at all times, which could be a problem sometimes in the Philippines, where internet isn't always available, and sometimes it's not optimized for mobile, right, since many old web apps are still not responsive. And also sometimes internet can be expensive, right? Let's say it's easily accessible, but yeah, sometimes it can be expensive and not within reach for many Filipinos, right? So this is where in the previous years, right? We've seen the rise of both the native apps and the web app, and this is where progressive web app comes in. So they thought of, what if we take the pros of web apps and also the pros of native platform-specific apps. So this is where the progressive web app comes in, right? So basically, progressive web apps are your web apps but are added with native apps functionality. So it's like your typical web app lang, but it has the ability to access the camera, etc., work offline, right? So let's have a look at some of its key features. First is that it works offline, which is a good thing, right? It's also installable. Let's say you wanted to keep that certain web app device, you can do that. It's also fully engaging because it has push notifications and other access to native functionalities, and also smaller than most native apps. All right, let's do some shout out. We have some shout out from Bokoshito Josu, good evening, and from Ralph Rosailan, good evening, po. So ayun, right, no, so let's go back. So it's also smaller than most native apps because, given that we're building a web app, we typically optimize, right? Optimize for web for different devices. That's why it's usually small, right? It's also searchable and shareable through URLs and from the web, right? So just easily share your web app, and then your friends and your family and your, let's say, customers can also access the web app that you built. All right. So this would be quick, but let's have a look at some of the examples of progressive web app, just so that we would have a feel of what it is, right? So before I show you some of the international examples, if you try to open youtube.com, right, on your desktop, and let's say you try to turn off your internet, instead of seeing the dinosaur, you're not going to see it anymore. Instead, you would see a shell, right? Like you would still see youtube.com, but it just tells you that there's no internet. But you're not going to see the dinosaur anymore, right? So if you've seen that already, then most likely you already had a first taste of progressive web apps, right? So it feels more like an app. All right. So let's have some some of the examples internationally. First is Twitter.com. So if you wanted to have a lightweight version of Twitter, you just visit Twitter.com. So you don't necessarily have to install the full-fledged Twitter application from the store. You just visit Twitter.com and then you try to your home screen, or you can install it like the native counterpart, right? We also have Instagram and Tinder as well. Also here in the Philippines, not much, but we're starting to see more PWAs coming. First is, this is probably one of the best examples, is Click Grocery by 7-Eleven, where you can actually order, and then even when you can show your QR code to the store and then claim it on the nearest 7-Eleven branch, which is cool. We also have GoGo Express, right? Just another example. So another example for transportation is Travel Philippines. Let's say you wanted to plan your next adventure here in the Philippines. You can just visit app.philippines.travel, add the web app to your home screen, and then let's say you wanted to go somewhere here in the Philippines. You could just try to visit that and then plan your next trip. All right, and then I believe many of us have tried to ride the LRT one. So I did a proof of concept as well, where I've made a train tracker where you can actually track where you are, where it would actually show you where's the nearest train station you're currently at, right? And then let's say you could also put your destination. So when you're at your destination already, it would also tell you that the next station is your destination, right? You can try it out. So I won't do a demo anymore. But you can scan the QR code and try it out. And we'll examples from the beverage industry. First is Starbucks Philippines Rewards. If you're in Starbucks and you wanted to have an easy way to reload and see your balance, you can just visit starbuckscard.ph, add it to your home screen, and then access, your balance anytime. And also some example here is museum, and you wanted to learn more about the art that's in there. I also built a sample progressive web app for that, where you can just scan the QR code, point your camera to, then it would try to tell you what it is, right? So I won't do any demo anymore, but you could scan that. But unfortunately, it's not complete since it's just a proof of concept, but I'll try to share my slides so you could also try doing do like a camera test on these pictures. I'll share it to you via the email that you used to register, right? And also that one, right? Okay, so let's try to have a look. Why is it called progressive, right? So progress means to move forward or onward towards a certain destination. And Alex Russell, who actually named the progressive web app, said that progressive web apps are just like your, like apps, but are not, packaged or distributed to through stores. But you actually can do that. They're just like any other websites, but they just seem to have took the right vitamins. And they actually kept some of the good stuff from the web, like they would just ask the permission when you need it, and then it can be on your task switcher, etc. Let's say, for example, you are just planning to book a ride on a web app, right? And you would only be there for a single time. The good thing about web app is that you don't necessarily have to install it. You don't have to install the web app anymore. But let's say, for example, you're a frequent user of the for example, you really see the value of that web app, then that's the time you can actually install it, which makes it progressive, right? So I won't discuss this anymore, but as you can see, the progress here is that, let's say you get to scan the web app, use it, and then let's say it becomes important to you, you can add it to your home screen or you can install it, and then it gain your trust, right? So let's say the next time that you wanted to use your web app, it's already on your launcher, right? So it's easier for you to access it the next time, and you can also manage it just like any other apps that you have on your phone. All right, so why would we build Progressive Web App? First is that it works on all form factors. Your phone, your computer, your smart TV, and then it's also ubiquitous because it's the web, right? You can open it on different browsers. It's also platform independent, regardless of what operating system you're using. You can access your web app. It's also cheap and accessible because typically web apps are optimized for almost all device, right? So you don't necessarily need to have an expensive phone just to have a proper web app experience. And also there are upcoming devices, so it's also great that you are able to have a great experience on new devices from day one. All right, so why would you also build a Progressive Web App here in the Philippines? First is that it's convenient for your users because you don't necessarily have to install it first before you can use it. Progressive Web Apps are a great way for your users to immediately take advantage of what you offer, right? And we all know that Philippines has slow and expensive internet, right? And it's also cheaper to develop since it's a web app. You just need to know your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you're almost good to go. And it also works in all platforms, regardless if you're using Android, iOS, Windows, macOS, Linux, name it, right? And it's also starting to become more capable like native apps. So your Progressive Web App can access your camera, your hardware, it can send you push notification, it can be on your home screen, right? And if you're going to look at that map, we don't have any representative Progressive Web App yet, so it's nice that we start building today. All right, I'll just have a run through the building blocks of Progressive Web App. So what you need to build a Progressive Web App is first to have a web app, of course, that's responsive, that is engaging, and then you need to make sure that it runs on HTTPS. It needs to be secure. And then you need to also have your web manifest, which I will be discussing later, along with the service worker. And then on top, you can also try to sprinkle it with some modern web APIs, like try to access the camera and the like, right? All right, I won't discuss this anymore, but in terms of what technologies you can use any framework that you like. You can use Angular, Vue, React.js, Solid.js. It's almost like a new framework coming out every single day, and it's up to you which framework or library you would wish, right? You can even use Flutter. All right, so I'll be discussing you the manifest, the web manifest, and the service worker that I told you earlier. So if you accustomed to building native apps, right? There's an app manifest where we put the permissions, the icons, and the thing with web is that we also have that now, right? We have a manifest file where we basically add our icons, app name, if you want it to be full screen. So it's a JSON file and it looks just like this, right? I can put the name, I can like add the theme color, the icons, it's all in there, right? So it's right there. And there's also a generator for this one. Let's say you don't want to write the JSON file manually, you could there's like an online tool where you can just put the name, you could upload an icon, and then just select the color. There's a tool for that already. And next is the service worker. So the service worker is just basically a script that acts like a middleman to your device and to the internet. So this is the script that allows your PWA to work offline, right? So let's say my device wants to get a certain resource from my web app. So what it does is that the service worker can try to intercept the request. So let's say I'm offline, but I have it in my cache on the device. The service worker can return what's cached on my device rather than connecting it to the internet. So I could do all of those magic. Right. I won't discuss that anymore, but there's a tool that allows you to write that script, which is Workbox.js, which is an open source tool that allows you to generate a service worker. So a sample of the service worker is on the screen. So basically, it's just JavaScript where there's certain listeners for fetching different resources, right? So let's say I'm offline and I have an offline.html file. So when I'm offline, I could just return that offline page. So that's one of the superpowers of service worker, right? All right. I'm sorry if it's very quick, but if you wanted to learn more, we have resources that's available for you. You can visit the link on the screen. And the good thing about this resource is that it's very concise, and almost all the things that you need to learn about progressive web app is right there. And let's say you have a progressive web app already and you wanted to take it to the next level, you wanted to bring it to different stores. There's a tool for that called PWA Builder, where you can just put the URL of your web app and then it would create different packages for you where you can actually place it on different stores, so it would be there. And if you wanted to learn more about our local community, you could just visit app.pwppeens.org. I believe this is where you're registered as well, because we have different events for you soon. All right, and make sure to follow me on different socials if you have questions. All right. Hi, Alex. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them right now. And this is the first time that we're also live on LinkedIn. So, right. So, hi to everyone that's on LinkedIn. All right. So, while you're still typing your questions, if you have any, as promised, we have certificates for you. Just make sure to register on the event page that I'll be sharing on the comment section. Right, it's right here. Just make sure to visit that link and register. If you're already registered, you could already check in right now. So this is how it's gonna be like, right? So you just need to click check in, and then there you go. You're already checked in, and then you can already download your certificate. Alright. Okay. So it should be available for you now. There. That's how you can download your certificates. Alright, there. There you are. Alright. Anyway, sorry. Whoop. Okay, so if there's no other questions, you can rewatch the session anytime on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and yeah. Make sure to catch me on February 28th for the branding talk. And if you have other questions, feel free to join our group. Leave your questions there, and we'll try to answer that. All right. All good. Okay. So I guess that's it. See you on our future events. Bye.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations. Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in